They say never. I say never tell me what to do. A person will never put you in a position above them. That's never a lie, always true. Success never comes without risk, and risk never comes without fear. YouTube is a smoke and mirror, never how it appear.
Hey, what's up? This is your boy Icewater 815. Welcome to the channel, man. If you're new here, basically, this is my YouTube channel. I'm Icewater, and I'm what I consider to be a trucking analyst, and I provide tips, information, opinions, mostly based on facts, but still opinions, about the trucking industry, the trucking market, with a heavy focus on the spot market, because that's where I get my freight from. So with all that being said, let's jump right to it. Hey, today I wanted to talk about something that I guess has been on my mind. I guess that's the best way to put it. So with no further ado, I want to talk about company drivers. And you may ask, like, what do you know about being a company driver? Have you ever worked for a company? Well, kind of, sort of. Like, when I work in construction, if you see me pull an end up or something like that, I guess I'm a company driver in that sense, because I work for one of my guys. It's not my truck that I'm driving, it's his truck. So that's about the extent of it. You know what I'm saying? I've leased on to some companies before I got my own authority, but moving from that. What I want to say, secondly, I said first, secondly, let me thank the sponsors of this video, because anybody that I do any business consulting for, and they ask me how much a mile do I need to move my truck, any broker who asks me how much per mile do I need to move my truck, or anybody who done pitch me a dispatching service and ask me that question, y'all sponsored this video by asking me them questions, because that's where this come from. So what I want to say is this. I talk to a lot of people who run their trucking business around getting loads based on how much they can average per mile. And a part of me understands where they came up with that concept at, but a part of me doesn't agree with the application of that, especially when it comes to a smaller fleet. Like, if you under 5 trucks, I don't know that per mile should be how you booking your loads, especially if you booking your loads off the spot market like me. I don't have any dedicated customers. Now, I do have some, I'm just gonna say, favorite brokers, because it's not really dedicated customers. When I say dedicated customers, I mean, like, every quarter I'm not signing a contract with a customer for a certain amount of volume or a certain amount of lanes or a certain type of lane. I don't have that. So I'm loosely based off the spot market, and I make relationship with brokers, and if they have a load, they'll be like, hey, I got this load, you want to run it, and we go from there. So with that being said, back to what I was saying about the people who base their business on, like, what they get in per mile. And you'll hear this all the time. People be like, oh, when you're averaging everything, I'm getting $2 per mile. And in my opinion, if you do that, you got a bad business model. I don't know how else to say it, you know. And with that business model, you can't compete with your competitors in the trucking industry. And when I say your competitors, I'm not really talking about the next trucking company that got the same amount of trucks you got or anything like that. Like I said, if you got a small fleet, like less than 5 trucks, and you talking about per mile, it's gonna be very difficult for you to make it through the ups and downs in trucking. And I'm gonna elaborate on that as to why I say that. If you look at, like, businesses, take for instance Costco, and their competitor is Sam's, right? Well, Costco outperforms well, I ain't gonna say always outperform them, but lately Costco been outperforming Sam's. And the point here that I'm trying to make is they have the same competitor, but they got different business models. Costco, they got a generous return policy. They don't have a wide selection of a product. You might not get the same product each time you go into Costco, as opposed to Sam's, who don't have a generous return policy, who you probably can get the same product. They're going to stock the same thing over and over again. They going after the same customer, but they got different business models. I'll give you another example. Walmart and their competitor Target. They're going after the same customers, but they got different business models. And Walmart pretty much just focusing on bringing people in for the grocery side of it, but also selling them other stuff. Target ain't like that. Like, Target ain't heavily focused on grocery. Now, they starting to put groceries in some of their stores or whatever, but they're not heavily focused on grocery. But what does Target do? Target will offer you something Walmart don't offer you. Target has has a red card. Hook up the red card, you get a discount. You're not going to get that at Walmart. Sometime if you spend X amount of dollars at Target, they'll give you $5 back, and you could use it right then. You see what I'm saying? They going after the same customer, but they got different business models. What do this have to do with being a company driver? I'm glad you asked. When you're a company driver, there's two ways that you usually gonna get paid. You usually gonna get paid off of percentage, and you're usually gonna get paid off of mileage. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get paid out of mileage, just depending on where you work at. And a lot of people who transition from a company driver into running a trucking company, they come from mileage. And they have this ideal that if I charge a certain amount of mile, I'll be able to be profitable in trucking. While that business model may work for a big trucking company, it may work for a 3PL broker who's giving out loads based on a per mile calculation or formula. As far as you running the trucking company, that's ridiculous. Like, per mile, you booking the loads per mile? See what I'm saying? Like, the 3PL and you going after the same, like, you're going after the same customer, you trying to get the freight. But you can't have the same business model as a larger trucking company that has more trucks and can actually operate per mile. Because when they operate per mile, they're operating over volume over pricing. They're just going to do a whole bunch of loads. So they can look at it per mile. If you don't have a whole bunch of trucks, you can't do a whole bunch of loads. You see how, like, you can't take what your competitor is doing and put it on your business, or like the company that you used to work for. If they were doing that, you're not that company. Your business model has to fit your business. I know you like, oh, you said all that to say. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did, because I just thought about it right now. Your business model has to fit your business. Per mile is not going to work for you running your trucking company if you're a small trucking company. You will never make it through the valleys and peaks in the trucking business if you start looking at it per mile. It's okay if you want to pay your driver by the mile and he can run around and chase miles like a chicken with his head cut off, or a dog chasing his tail, whatever analogy you want to use. But when you booking your loads and you negotiating rates, man, and I've had brokers ask me when we've been on the phone, well, how much you need per mile? And I used to just hang up on them. But since I've been in therapy, my therapist told me that I shouldn't do that I should, channel my anger and use kinetic energy to turn it into discipline. It's been a while since I've been in therapy, so I forgot. But anyway, I no longer hang up on them. I just let them know that, my business model is not based per mile, so With that being said, man, I'm gonna get out of here. I appreciate you, man. This is your boy Icewater 815. Any questions, you can email me at axice815@gmail.com. Man, I did all that talking and all that rambling, and I forgot the moral to the video. I forgot to give y'all the moral to the video. A lot of y'all got trucking companies. Like, a lot of y'all own trucking companies, but a lot of y'all don't even realize that you actually a company driver for your own company. Yeah. You actually, because all you're doing is chasing miles here. You know, you just out here chasing miles because you $2 a mile, you chasing. You actually a company driver for your own company, your so-called trucking company. Yeah, it hurt, don't it?
Been through a lot of pain in my life, and I pray the Lord take it all away.